World War Z starts on a busy Philadelphia street. Jack is taking his family to go out, but they are blocked by the crowded road. Jack turns on the radio, and the radio broadcasts a news report saying that rabies has broken out in 12 countries around the world. It was chaotic. Jack was focused when a motorcycle zoomed by and knocked off his car's rearview mirror. He wanted to get off the car to argue, but the other party had already disappeared. Jack was just about to get back on the car when a loud noise suddenly sounded in the distance. The explosion caused a riot. The street quickly turned chaotic. The police urged everyone to return to their cars immediately. Suddenly, a speeding truck struck them. Jack, a UN investigator, recognized the danger and accelerated to escape the out-of-control tower truck. A fire truck suddenly appeared, causing a car accident between two vehicles. Fortunately, Jack's family was not seriously injured. Meanwhile, the zombie virus spread widely, turning the abandoned city into a hell on Earth. Zombies blended with humans and were highly agile and attacked fiercely. If targeted by zombies, survival was nearly impossible. The mutation speed was very fast, taking just 12 seconds for a person to fully transform into a zombie. In a panic, Jack found a motorhome and fled Philadelphia with his family. Within minutes, the city had completely collapsed. Jack was on the road, driving to the suburbs to escape the zombie attack. Meanwhile, UN official Smith called to say a helicopter would arrive to pick up Jack in an hour. The organization urgently needs the skilled retired investigator, but they had to rush to the store for their daughter's asthma medicine first, so they went to the nearest supermarket. The situation is dire, with people frantically grabbing supplies. Due to time constraints, the family split up. Jack went for medicine while his wife got food. When Jack left the supermarket, he saw two gangsters attempting to rob his wife. He shot and killed one silently, while the other fled. A policeman approached him. Jack raised his hands, but the officer ignored him and went straight to the shelf. After leaving the store, Jack discovered the RV was gone. He called Smith to explain his situation, but Smith said the helicopter wouldn't arrive for an hour, at earliest, the next morning. Jack had to take his family to a nearby apartment for safety. They escaped the zombies and were welcomed by a Mexican family upstairs. The next morning, Jack invited them to join him, but they declined. Jack had to respect their wishes and prepared equipment to fight zombies. Everything was ready, and they departed. As they opened the stairwell door, a zombie suddenly attacked. Jack, quick to react, shot it dead, but the gunshot drew more zombies. They could only run to the rooftop, but the zombies were too fast. Jack had to cover him from behind. A zombie knocked him down, but at a critical moment, it was shot. The zombie was a child from a Mexican family. Shortly after Jack's family left, zombies invaded their home, leaving only the child alive. The wife on the rooftop quickly lit a flare, and the helicopter spotted them. Jack rushed to the building's edge and counted to 12. Jack sighed, relieved, after zombie blood splashed into his mouth. If infected, he could jump down to protect his family. Luckily, he was fine. The helicopter arrived just as the zombies swarmed in. Jack could only block the door and let others go first. After they were safe, Jack quickly ran to the helicopter under the soldiers. Under the cover of firepower, Jack was successfully rescued. The helicopter landed on a warship at sea. This is the safest place at present. The situation was worse than Jack thought. The virus spread globally. Even the president's death has gone unnoticed by the government. The only clue is an email from South Korea. They call the mutated people zombies, but now they have lost contact with them. To prevent this disaster, the Supreme Commander hopes Jack can guide a doctor to find the cause. If the virus source is identified, an antiviral serum can be developed. Jack declined immediately to stay with his family. But there is no such thing as idle people here. If you want to be safe, you must work for the government. If you don't work, leave the ship quickly. Jack had no choice but to agree. After bidding farewell to his family, he flew to South Korea. The doctor was confident in the mission, believing the virus was a natural crime scene tracker. If he was found, everything could be resolved. Jack heard this guy had something, making it seem certain. As soon as the plane landed, a swarm of zombies attacked him. The young doctor, having never seen such creatures, panicked and rushed back to the cabin. He accidentally fell, causing the gun in his hand to discharge and injure him immediately. Fortunately, the US military picked them up and safely brought them to the camp. The mission continued despite the doctor's death, but the laboratory was destroyed. The captain spoke to Jack, who was on the bed. He was the camp's first infected person, originally a military doctor sent to investigate a soldier's death. The soldier mutated, biting and infecting the military doctor. Upon returning to camp, he attacked others. They defeated the zombies and burned them, but barely halted the threat. With all clues destroyed, the captain was unaware of how the soldier got infected. Just as Jack feared he would return empty-handed, a detained CIA officer appeared to have something to share. He said that Israel built a high wall before the zombie virus broke out and completely blocked the entire country. If you want to know the answer, go to the capital of Israel and find a man named Andrew. Jack was set to depart for Jerusalem but needed to refuel the plane first. To minimize noise, they biked to the plane. Unexpectedly, Jack's phone rang en route. Nearby zombies were quickly awakened. The resident division fired to protect the captain, who was refueling the plane. Jack and others reached the cabin safely, but at the cost of the resident troops' destruction. After a night of sailing, the plane landed safely in Jerusalem. Jack asked the pilot to stay here and wait for him to come back before dark. He discovered Andrew working as a UN investigator with local troops. Andrew informed Jack that Israel built a high wall in advance to intercept a message between Indian generals. The message stated that Indians were battling zombies, leaving Jack confused. How could a country build a wall based on an unverified claim? Is it full? Do you have nothing to do? Of course not, because Israel has established a rule called the 10th person rule. The 10th person must challenge the consensus of the 9 others and prove them wrong. Andrew is the 10th person. Israel, surprisingly, remains the only safe country. They enhance their defense while also accepting refugees from other countries. In this doomsday scenario, survivors are rare, but suddenly, the zombie horde outside the wall became agitated. The refugees inside the wall celebrated their survival, singing joyfully. The loud microphone noise attracted thousands of zombies. They approached the top of the wall at a speed visible to the naked eye, just like a human ladder. The last fortress was about to fall, and Jack was the first to notice something amiss. It's too late. Coming over the top, the zombies jumped down from the high wall like monkeys and began to attack the surviving humans. Everyone was fleeing frantically. The helicopter tried to prevent more zombies from entering, but it was useless in the face of the huge number. They swept in like a wave, and the soldiers' bullets were ineffective. Jack quickly exited the scene with the soldiers' escort. While escaping, Jack noticed some odd occurrences. The zombies ignored an old man and a thin bald boy. Escaping was now the priority, and Jack didn't dwell on it. A female soldier was bitten by a zombie while trying to shield her finger. In a hurry, Jack cut off the female soldier's arm with a knife. This method is very effective. After 12 seconds, the helicopter that came to pick them up was entangled by the zombies and lost control instantly. The plane waiting at the airport also ran away. In desperation, Jack saw a passenger plane about to take off not far away. The soldiers forcibly stopped the passenger plane and sent Jack safely on board. Israel lay in ruins. While treating the female soldier's wound, Jack recalled everything he had just witnessed. The old man and children who were not attacked in the lost group, plus what the doctor said. Jack had a bold idea. He immediately called Smith with a satellite phone and asked him to check the nearby guards and remember to pay attention before leaving. Check nearby guard organizations and divert to the closest World Health Center. If all goes well, an accident is near. A golden retriever discovers something on the plane. The stewardess opens the cabinet and suddenly sees a zombie. In another cabin, Jack wakes up abnormal shaking, realizing the danger. The others are also awakened. Jack quietly opens the curtain and signals for silence, then they block the passage with boxes. But a box accidentally falls to the ground. They draw zombie attention. The zombies instantly break through the defense line, and the cabin becomes a zombie carnival. Seeing that the situation was not good, Jack picked up a sweet potato and threw it over without hesitation. The plane was blown open and the zombies were sucked out by the strong airflow. Although they escaped the zombies' attack, the plane was about to crash. The plane crashed. Jack and the female soldier immediately put on their safety belts and prepared to meet the close contact with the ground. Jack was lucky enough to survive again. Only his abdomen was pierced by a piece of iron. The female soldier was just as lucky as him. They supported each other and moved forward, eventually reaching a nearby guard center where survivors rescued them. After losing contact, the commander implicitly accepts failure. They dismissed Jack's family from the ship and took them to the refugee camp. Jack slept for 3 days and nights. After waking, he contacted Smith to say he was alive. Jack was furious to learn his family was removed from the ship. "I've suffered outside for so long, yet you treat me this way." Smith is powerless, lacking the final say. At least the family is safe for now. The mission must continue. Jack came here to find a deadly pathogen that can also be cured. He believes zombies ignore some people because they carry deadly viruses, and zombies require healthy humans as hosts. If pathogens are injected into the body and humans mimic them, can they evade zombie attacks? When everyone learned the kid had a good idea, a zombie appeared, prompting them to conduct an experiment first. Area B has a high pathogen concentration. Dozens of zombies were present. Now, giving up was impossible, so Jack donned his protective gear, armed himself, and got ready to begin. He was accompanied by female soldiers and a researcher as they walked down a long corridor to Area B. Zombies are sensitive to sound, so avoid making any. However, one of the three must be the sixth. Sound drew a zombie which a soldier shot, alerting the others. They ran to the warehouse with the original body, but it was only a matter of time before the zombies caught up to them. Jack stood up and signaled the corpses to follow him, allowing the other two to access the warehouse for the pathogen. Jack rushed into a lab and halted the corpses outside, but some still escaped. Jack naturally solved one zombie. Just as he sighed in relief, he entered the corridor. A critical moment arose. The crowbar was stuck. With zombies nearby, Jack exerted all his strength to free the crowbar, then turned and shouted. The situation of the female soldier and the researcher was not optimistic. They were about to reach their destination, but they were blocked by a group of zombies. In desperation, the two had to give up the mission and return to the area. Now only Jack could rely on him. The two led the zombies away, allowing him to reach the pathogen warehouse. Unable to contact Area 1, Jack didn't know which were pathogens, so he took a few bottles of each. As he turned to leave, a zombie appeared. With the weapons outside, Jack was unsure how to respond. He could only risk injecting himself with pathogens, but he was unsure which one to choose. Even if Lao Pai picked the right one, he doubted this method would be effective. If it worked, he'd await certain death after injecting the virus. After a moment's hesitation, Jack penned a farewell to his family and randomly chose one to inject himself. When Jack felt it was almost done, then he opened the door of the warehouse. It seemed that it was just as Jack thought. This method really worked. The zombies bypassed him directly. Everyone was surprised. Jack calmly drank a can of Coke and made a noise to attract the zombies in the corridor. He was lucky enough to be injected with a pathogen that could cure the disease. At the end of the movie, Jack was successfully reunited with his family. The World Health Organization produced and distributed the vaccine globally, but the crisis continues as the virus's source is still unknown. Humans will keep fighting.